hear me out. Every princess needs a handmaiden or a maid, a besties. And Princess Valechka necessarily doesn't have one at the start of the story. You realize very quickly she's very sheltered, very caged in her story. And then she makes her deal with Milogost, and enters Devannah. She is a maiden of 3 shades. She's been a maid prior, and she hails originally from the Kingdom of Castor. So who else could possibly help answer and prepare her for this kingdom in all its drastically different customs, very bigoted, sexist kind of setting where women are just possessions and are for breeding kind of vibes. But she can prepare her, give her weapons as a woman in this environment because she weaponized herself, and that's how she was found by Milogost. And then later became a maiden of 3 shades. And Devannah is the fiery redhead, right? I didn't want my main character, but it's fantasy. You gotta have a redhead someplace in the fantasy setting. So in this dark, romantic-y, erotic story, we have Devannah, Kilgore, maiden of the 3 shades, handmaiden to Princess Valechka, who is red-haired, green-eyed, and has the biggest tits in all 5 kingdoms, is basically a phrase that is, or all 6 kingdoms, I can't quite remember exactly the phrasing, but the biggest tits in all the kingdoms is basically how she's described. And she is very, very wild child and promiscuous, and she loves answering the conversations and questions that Valechka throws at her about sexuality, about different things that are kind of connected. That I had to do some really strange research because I wanted to thanks, Devannah, this is your fault. I had to do some very strange research because the things that my character ended up asking Devannah, I didn't know the answer to, but now I know the answer to, and I can't unknow those you'll have to read to know, but know that those are legitimate questions, or I might have embellished or upped the volume on the answer a little bit because I am in a fantasy setting, but there is truth on the foundation of those answers, which is a lot of fun. I think my favorite scenes are after they have been engaged in a rendezvous, is how I will say it. There's always these conversations like later, like after the fact, that Valechka starts to think back about the moment, and then and at one point she turns to Devannah and she goes, "Oh my god," she's like, I think Milogost and Gishan have hooked up." And Devannah's like, no, that's not possible. I've known him for many years. I don't see that. She's like, I don't see Gishan taking from Milogost. And then Valechka's like, no, I think it's the other way around. I think Milogost has been taken by Gishan. And she's like, absolutely not. Like, clearly you don't know what you're talking about, because we're dealing with like someone who knows all this stuff and been around with these guys and on missions, to the princess like, no, like what I saw last night was, so there's this whole, you don't know if it's Valechka misunderstanding or Devannah, and she's like, Devannah, did you not see when XYZ happened? And Devannah replies, she goes, no, because you were sitting on my face, Your Majesty. And it's just glorious moments like that we get with Devannah. If that does not express how spicy this novel gets, I don't know what else does. But that's the kind of humor you can expect. She, like I said, she's not afraid to act. She's not afraid of, well, do you want to know? Both physically and verbally. So she's our fiery redhead who ends up being a very huge pillar of knowledge and strength and encouragement for Valechka in a lot of ways. It's not that she needs to be there to protect her, to mother her, to be her sister. She's just there to educate when Valechka needs her to, not because she's forcing it upon Valechka either. So it was a lot of fun exploring their dynamic, and Devannah having to make a decision, and Valechka assuming it was going to be one way versus the other because of all the information she had gathered. So that is the third character that plays a huge part in the Queen's Incubus, and is one of the 3 people for a majority of this book that Valechka spends her time with, in this very wide choose polyamory, romantasy, dark fantasy, erotica story. So enjoy that immensely. Know that it releases on October 16th, but you can start pre-ordering. If you want a signed copy, head on over to willisauthor.com and I can customize that book for you.